Shalom, fam. It's your Moray, Jaden Israel. Welcome to Wednesday Bible study. I'd like to say shalom, shalom to everybody listening. Tonight, we are going to speak about some real Black history. We are going to talk about Black history in the Bible. Check it. Black history did not begin in 1619. That's right. Contrary to popular belief, Black history did not begin in 1619. Family, as a mulatto, being mixed, being light-skinned, I am proud of our history in America. I am proud of our history in the Americas, in the Caribbean, throughout the world. However, if we want to be technical, our history started before 1619, and our history is found in the Bible. The title of today's live stream: Black history is in the Bible. That's right. Black history is in the Bible, family. We're going to look into the word of Yah, and we're going to look in to the Black history that we was not taught, unfortunately. Whether if it was done on purpose or not, many of us, including myself, we were not taught that Black history is in the Bible. We did not make the connection. Black history is in the Bible. Let me go ahead and check YouTube Studio, see how we're doing. YouTube Studio says excellent condition, so I'm taking YouTube's word for it. Before we begin, family, I got some surprises for you. What you want to do is go below this video, click on the description, and I'm going to walk you through so that way you can get these gifts, family. Check them out. All right. So what you want to do is you want to click where it says more, get your favorite 4-letter F word, free goodies, learn Hebrew and biblical prayers, 30 words in Paleo Hebrew, biblical Hebrew and English, video tutorial in free PDF download, the Lord's Prayer in Hebrew and English, video tutorial in free PDF download, the 10 Commandments in Hebrew and English, video, PDF, the Shema prayer in Hebrew and English, video tutorial in free PDF download, and the priestly blessing in Hebrew and English, the Benediction. You guessed it, video, PDF. Want to start learning Hebrew? Hebrew Mastery Bundle, recommended. At the end of this bundle, which includes 2 courses, you save, you receive a discount by tapping into the bundle. At the end of this bundle, you will learn how to understand, read, speak, and write Hebrew. All Hebrew courses. We have courses for children. We have courses for adults. Adults you can learn alongside your children. Also, we have Gematria, which is the numerical value for Hebrew letters. As a former Sunday school teacher and licensed minister, it's my pleasure to teach Hebrew. But we don't stop there. Want to earn side income or replace your 9-to-5? Trading Mastery course. My wife and I, we are stock market investors. The key is earn. There's no free lunches, family. No gimmicks, no games. We show you a skill. Kavod apparel. Faith-inspired wear. Represent the kingdom. Get the conversation started. Represent with your apparel. We got clothing for women, men, and children for regular days and feast days. Support the ministry. Patreon. If you desire to unlock exclusive content that I can't put on YouTube, content that is too hot, too spicy for YouTube. If you like spicy food like myself, Patreon will satisfy your hot food craving. It will satisfy your craving, family. Now, the Patreon, it includes advanced biblical teachings, advanced biblical tools. It includes behind the scenes footage, also bloopers. So if you want to laugh at my pain, it's going to be at my expense and yours. Cash App, PayPal, buy me a coffee, and the YouTube super chat are ways you can support the ministry. We are monetized. My wife and I, we appreciate the donations. Now, for our schedule, go below the super cool, awesome banner that I designed. You got San Francisco to the left. I'm representing the Bay. I've been moved out, but I'm still holding on. Yes, some things have never changed. I'm still in denial. I'm in Stockton, family. My bad, Stockton. You have Frisco to the left, the Kingdom to the right. These places can't be more opposite. I know I got a witness somewhere. Go right ahead and hit more to get our schedule. The Shabbat word, Sabbath service, Fridays at 7 o'clock p.m. Pacific time. Sabbath service includes prayer, praise music, preaching. All glory to Yah. Motivation Monday, shorts, wisdom gems, Mondays at 10 o'clock a.m. Pacific time. Real Talk Tuesday, live streams, Tuesdays at 5:30 p.m. Pacific time. Wednesday, Bible study, live streams. That's tonight. Wednesdays, 5:30 p.m. Pacific time. The links, once again, Hebrew Mastery Bundle, I recommend. Hebrew courses, trading course, Patreon, Etsy, where you could shop at Kavod, Cash App, PayPal, buy me a coffee, TikTok, IG, Meta, Jade and Jazz. That's my wife and I's channel. My wife and I, we speak about Black love, trendy topics, celebrity news. As the children of Yah, we strive to be balanced. We strive to be balanced, not bubble class. Email right here if you want to contact me. You got to verify that you are not AI, not to be confused with Allen Iverson. All right, family. So we are going to get into the topic at hand. Black history is in the Bible. Now, let me go ahead and pull up on my screen. I'm going to pull up Blue Letter Bible. Also, I would like to start with the beginning. Let's start with Genesis. Now, according to scientists, according to the experts, the consensus is that we all come from the African. That's right. Many scientists and experts, this is what they say. This is what they have wrote. This is what they have recorded. This is what they have observed, that all humankind comes from the African. And I say this out of love. If you are not of African descent, there is no hatred. I'm not coming at you sideways. However, if this is too hot for you right now, the dough is right here. The dough, you can go. Because this right here, family, we're going to keep it a buck. And that's what I'm about to do, family, respectfully. Now, it's debated where we all come from, whether if it's Africa, the out of Africa theory or not. Now, many believe that we all come from Africa. There's others that believe that we come from the Fertile Crescent region, which includes Africa, also includes Western Asia. You got different theories on this. Many do say we come from Africa. That is my position. However, regardless if we come from the continent of Africa or not, the original, the first of mankind was the African. And when I say African, I'm speaking about melanated, deeply melanated. today as we describe as Negro or Negroid, African, Negro, Black. We all come from the African. If you ask me, that's my opinion. According to the articles that I have read, the research that I have done, that's my position on that. And I'm not here to force my opinion on you. But however, I'm going to just keep it real, family, how I see it and how I observe it. So with that said, according to science, we all come from Africa and we come from the African. Now, when I do research on the Bible, I don't just rely on the Bible. Would you say, Jaden? That's right. I don't just rely on the Bible. I know that some do. They just stay stuck in the pages of the Bible. But to me, that's a mistake. In order to gain deeper understanding on the Word of God, we have to apply a variety of methodology in order to arrive to a conclusion. We can't just use the Bible. We also have to look at history. We also have to look at maps. We also have to look at nature. We also have to look at archaeology, what is found in the ground. We also have to look at surrounding cultures. We also have to look at language. We also have to look at bones, craniometrics, DNA, weather, language. We have to use all the tools available to us to make a judgment. And according to the research that I have seen, I come to the observation that we, as humankind, as humans, we all come from Africa. And the firstborn of creation is the African. Let me repeat that. For those in the nosebleeds, you're so high up there, I can't see you. Humans come, we all come, people, we all come from the firstborn of creation, the African. Now that I gave my position, because I use science. I know some believers in the Bible do not, but to me, science is a powerful tool, and it's going to allow us to gain more knowledge and wisdom, family, and understanding. Let's not be afraid of science. It's not the so-called white man science. Let's not be afraid of the information. Now, I'm going to share with you on my homepage actually, I'm going to do this. I'm going to go to my playlist and I'm going to show you a video that I recommend for you to check out. This is from the Shabbat Word playlist. You know what? I'll do it like this. I'll just go to videos because it wasn't too long ago. I want to say it was 2 months ago. Adam and Eve were black. Let me go ahead and share my screen. Check out this video, family, when you get the chance. After this one, of course. Adam and Eve were black. Proof Adam and Eve were black. Hebrew Israelite Shabbat service. Once again, this is no shade. This is not hate. I'm an Israelite brother. That's about peace, unity, and love. I ain't no killer, but don't push me. I know I've heard that somewhere. Some things will never change. I still love hip hop, and I ain't changing that. But I'm more careful to what I listen to these days. I will say that. Trust me. Trust me. Now I'm more careful with what I listen to. Today's music, I can't stand it. I really can't. I don't even know if you call that music. I don't know what you call that. That's bumacloudism. That's what that is. Family, Adam and Eve were black. Proof Adam and Eve were black. Hebrew Israelite Shabbat service. Now, like I was saying, we're going to start from the beginning. If you want more of an in-depth study, I bring up a academic article in this video. Also, we get into Genesis, and that's what we're going to do right now. So let me go ahead and share my screen. Let's start with Genesis, the beginning. Now, many use this verse to prove Adam was black. Many prove this verse. Many use it. I said many prove this verse. Many use this verse. I'll see if y'all listening. I'll be checking up on you now. Many use this verse to prove that Adam was black. Adam and Eve were black. Many use this verse that Adam and Eve were white. And many use this verse to say that Adam and Eve were other. Let's go ahead and get into it. Let's go to Genesis chapter 2, verse 7. Hallelujah. The word of God says, and Yehovah Elohim formed man of the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living soul. So many interpret this verse differently. It says, and Yehovah God formed man of the dust of the earth, the dust of the ground. Now let's go to tools. It says dust of the ground. Let's check out the word man first. Man right here is ha'adam, man. Adam, that word Adam means man, mankind, man, human being, man, mankind. Much more frequently used, and much more frequently intended since in OT. Adam, first man, city of Jordan Valley, a human being, man, mankind. Now check it out. Here's the kicker. It comes from the root word Adam. 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 Adam means to be read, read. Be read. It means be read. Also, you have Strong's. It says Adam, to show blood in the face, i.e. flesh, or turn rosy, be dyed, made, red, ready. Now, Strong's family is Steven Seagal today. Shout out to Steven Seagal. I'm still scared of you. No, I'm not. Okay, yeah, I am. Yeah, I'm just playing. A little bit. Kind of. Sort of. Not anymore since you cut the ponytail. I used to be. Shout out to Steven Seagal. Look. But what I'm trying to say is that Strong's was revolutionary for its time, but it's outdated. It's outdated, family. So I encourage you to not rely on Strong's only. Please go outside of Strong's. Use different lexicons. You got the Brown Driver Briggs. You got the old Gesenius Hebrew Chaldee lexicon. You have the Halot, which I have on my Patreon. The Halot is the Hebrew and Aramaic lexicon of the Old Testament, which I highly recommend. So this word Adam is the verb, because most Hebrew words come from verbs, because Hebrew's all about that action. Adam, meaning mankind, comes from the verb Adam, which means be read. Aliyah. Now, you're going to have different interpretations on this. Read as in a white person, a black person, or another, or an other, or like another black, white, or other. Black, white, or other. There's different interpretations on read. Now, here's my stance on that. Also, before I give my stance, I also like to repeat that the word ground In English, in Hebrew, it's ha'adama, 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 just like that. Ha'adama, ha'adama, adama, 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 which means ground, land, ground as general, tilled, yielding sustenance, piece of ground, a specific plot of land, earth sustenance for building or constructing, ground as earth's visible surface, land, territory, country, whole inhabited earth, city in Naphtali. Strong's soil, from its general redness. Let's highlight that. From its general redness, Adama, 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 country, earth, ground, husband, man, tree, land, ground, land. Why am I highlighting this word? Because this word right here, Adama, comes from the Hebrew verb Adam. What does that means? Be read. Why am I showing this? Man and ground in Hebrew both share the same root. What's the root? Adam. Root word, Adam. Be read. So you have different interpretations on this, family. On red. Thank you for the donation, Ty Keith. I appreciate that, King. All glory to Yah. Genesis 2:7. In the verse, Genesis 2:7, man and ground both come from the same root, which is Adam, which is a verb that means be read. So you may wonder, how does that look? It just depends on your studies, how far you go into your studies, how deep you go with your studies. But check it. Genesis 2:7. Here's my position. Genesis 2:7, according to me, does not describe the skin color of Adam and eventually Eve. It does not describe mankind's complexion. However, if you like to use that, if you like to use Genesis 2:7 as proof that Adam and Eve were black or non-black or other or whatever, or black, white, or other, then let me go ahead and rephrase that, family. Check it. Let me go big screen. Now, I don't use Genesis 2:7 to prove that Adam and Eve were black, but if you do, you can consider this. Now, the oldest and the whitest DNA today are found amongst the Khoisan. The Khoisan, they live in southern Africa. And let me go ahead and show you the Khoisan people. Let me go ahead and share my screen. If you like to prove that Adam and Eve were black, this might help you right here. Now, my position, I don't use Genesis 2:7 as proof of skin color. But if you do, you can consider this. Let me go ahead and share my screen right now. Here's the Khoisan people. Now, the Khoisan, when you look at the Khoisan, their complexion is reddish brown, ruddy. And let's compare that to Genesis 2:7. It says, and Yehovah Elohim formed man of the dust of the ground. Remember, that word man is Adam, which comes from the root word Adam, which means be red. And ground in Hebrew is ha'adama, which comes from the root word Adam, which means to be red. They have the same root. So if you want to use this as proof, I don't. It doesn't mention skin color here, family, but if you want to go ahead, you can. Hey, you can do what you want. You believe what you want. You feel me? I'm not here to tell you what you must believe. But what I'm saying is if you want to use it, you can consider the Khoisan people. They are reddish brown. And also, check out red soil. What does red soil look like? Red soil. This is what red soil looks like. Red soil. That's red soil. Genesis 2:7. And Yehovah Elohim formed man of the dust of the ground. That word ground is ha'adama, Adama, which is ground. Strong's says soil from its general redness. From its general redness. Now, let's compare that to red soil. Red soil is reddish brown. And when you compare that with the Khoisan people, we can see the similarity. We see the connection. Reddish brown, ruddy, red bone. A colloquial term we use today, which I encourage you to look into the history of that word red bone. Check that out, family. I'm not going to get that out right now. So the Khoisan, as we see, and the red soil. This video right here says the very first humans, according to this video. I'm not saying the Khoisan are the very first humans. What I'm saying is that today, amongst the different people groups of today, they have the oldest and the widest DNA. That's what I'm saying. And I'm not saying Adam and Eve were Khoisan. I'm not saying that. But if you want to go ahead and make that connection, you can go ahead and have that, family. But I'm looking at science. I look at science. I rely on science as part of my studies when I'm looking into the Bible. I just don't read the scriptures alone. I strive to use all the tools around us. So, according to my knowledge from my studies, all humans come from Africa and from the African. And like I said, family, this is out of love, but it's Black History Month. So we're going to talk about it. Now, let's get back to the scriptures. And Jehovah God formed man of the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils and the breath of life, and man became a living soul. Now, whether Adam and Eve were mahogany, reddish brown, mahogany, whether Adam and Eve were mahogany or mocha, either way, they were African. They were black. Also, from my position, I believe that humans existed before Adam and Eve. I don't believe Adam and Eve were the first individuals. I lean on Genesis 1:26 and 27. I'll read 27. So Elohim created man in his own image. In the image of Elohim created he him. Male and female created he them. And when it says man, it's speaking about mankind. Male and female, from my position, we're here first, male and female. Now, when you look at science, according to science, mitochondrial DNA is older than paternal DNA. So from my position, since I like to rely on science, family, I'm going to go ahead and say it. I'm going to say it proudly. We all come from the black woman. According to knowledge, according to history, according to science, we all come from the black woman. The black woman was here first. Before Adam and Eve were on the scene, we all came from the black woman. Now I'm getting this from science. It doesn't say that in the scriptures. It says male and female. However, when you look at DNA on the father's side and DNA on the mother's side, the DNA on the mother's side predates the DNA on the father's side. Hey, but you ain't got to believe me. Do whatever you want with it. And just a quick backdrop on the Khoisan people. I'm going to go ahead and read this. The Khoisan are indigenous Southern African peoples, widely considered one of the oldest human cultures with genetic roots dating back over 150,000 years. They are famous for their unique click languages, ancient rock art, and deep botanical knowledge. Today, they number in the tens of thousands across Namibia, Botswana, and South Africa. That was just a quick AI overview. Now, we're going to get into some more scriptures. Let's go to the scripture where Joseph's brothers, they think he's Egyptian. Let's go there. And family, we appreciate it if you go ahead. If you like the video, you subscribe. We appreciate the support. All glory to Yah. Let's go to Genesis 42, verse 8. Before we go there, let me go ahead and just, for edification, we'll go to tools. I like to go outside the King James Version. We can't rely on one version. Honestly, let's go back to our language. Forget English. Forget the KJV. Let's tap into Hebrew. All glory to Yah. But I get it. We speak in English right now. I'm speaking English to you. But I encourage you to look at other translations. And we're going to look at the NLT, which is a thought for thought. Not to be confused with a thought for thought. Leave them thoughts alone. Then God said, let us make human beings in our image. Human beings. And also verse 27. Bibles. So God created human beings. All right, let's go to Genesis 48. Whoops, that's the wrong. Checking to see if y'all listening. I'll be checking up on you now. Genesis 42:8. The word of Yah says, And Joseph knew his brethren, but they knew him not. Let's see. That's not the right one. Joseph's brothers sent to Egypt. Make sure I have the right verse, family. Joseph mistaken for Egyptian. I know we're getting hot. Let me go ahead and see. And Joseph saw his brethren and knew them, but made himself strange unto them, and spake roughly unto them. And he said unto them, Whence come ye? And they said, From the land of Canaan to buy food. And Joseph knew his brethren, but they knew him not. So as we see, the brothers of Joseph, they did not recognize him. They couldn't recognize him. Tools. Let's go to ESV. And Joseph recognized his brothers, but they did not recognize him. Question: how come his brothers didn't recognize him? I'm asking family. Question: how come the brothers could not recognize Joseph? All right. Was it because he was wearing Egyptian clothing? Was it because he looked similar with the Egyptians? And I'll even ask this. The Egyptians, here in Genesis 42, let's skip down to verse 23. And they knew not that Joseph understood them, for he spake unto them by an interpreter. So, my question, the other Egyptians in the room, the interpreter, were they Egyptian? Were they the Hyksos? Either way you look at it, according to me, when you look at their appearance, they were African. They were African in appearance. They look black. When you look at the Hyksos, I'm gonna allow you to make your own judgment. Whether if you believe this is the Egyptians or the Hyksos. The Hyksos, they ruled in Egypt. Many believe during this time. Many believe that the Hyksos ruled Egypt during this time. This was known as the intermediate period. I repeat, this was known as the intermediate period. So it's possible that the Hyksos was ruling during Genesis 42. I don't know for sure, but you let me know what you think, fam. And check it. If you're wondering what the Egyptians look like, and if you're wondering what the Hyksos look like, I got you. I'm going to go ahead and pull up a snippet from a documentary that I created that I recommend you to check out, family. When you get the chance, watch this documentary. If you haven't seen it, I feel bad for you. Shame on you. You got to check this out, fam. Let me go ahead and share my screen. Whitewashed. And I say that respectfully. No shade. If you're not of African descent, I'm not hating, family. We're just keeping it a buck right here out of love. Israelite roots. How people of the Bible were whitewashed from black to white. Now click on this video. And when you click on this video, you're going to see what's the Hyksos and what the Egyptians look like. You guys are going to get a trailer. I'm pulling it up off screen. Let's go. Shout out to YouTube. They're running ads. We are monetized. All right. Got it. Bam. At the bottom are the Egyptians, and at the top are the early Hebrews, also known as the Hyksos, also known as Hyksos. Now, this was during the time of Joseph. When you look at the dates, when this wall painting was created, and when you look at the biblical timeline of the story of Joseph, there's a connection. They mirror each other. There is a connection with the story of Joseph and this painting that you see right here. This is from the tomb of Khnumhotep, which is found in Beni Hassan. This is known as the Beni Hassan tomb. The Beni Hassan tomb painting. Of Khnumhotep. The Beni Hassan wall painting, circa 1890, somewhere around there, 1900 BCE. This mural was from the wall of a tomb at the site of Beni Hassan in Egypt. Shows a band of Asiatic nomads from Syria, Canaan, visiting Egypt. Now, let's get a close-up. Let's get a close-up on the Hyksos, the Asiatics, the Hyksos, the early Hebrews. Bam. As you can see, family, you look at the hair, the kinky afros, you see the beards, the knotty beards, you see the skin tone, reddish brown orange, red, brown, brownish color. As we see, a bronze is different shades. As we see these four brothers here, different shades of brown. When you look on the far right, look at this brother right here. And let's get another image. If we do a comparison, a side by side, we see a resemblance with the Commodores. I'm just allowing the pictures to speak for themselves. And we got another image. That's right. There's more. Check this out. From the same tomb, from the Beni Hassan tomb, circa 1900 BCE. This individual is identified, I believe, as Abishai, which is Shemitic. It's a Shemitic word, Abishai. It's Shemitic. Now, as we can see, the knotty beard, the natural, the complexion, also brown, melanated, reddish brown, melanated. Look toward the face, fam. As we see, that's where most of the color of the painting is still there, still remains. And we see that over time it's faded away, but it's still there. Look at the face, family. And for kicks and giggles, let's get a comparison. There go Apollo Creed. Yeah, I love the Rocky movies. And Love and Memory. It's Carl Weathers. All right, family. So that was a comparison of the early Hebrews, aka the Hyksos, aka the Hykasut, aka the Asiatics. Now, I'm not saying all the Israelites are the Hyksos. I'm not saying that. I'm not conflating the Hyksos with the Israelites. But what I'm saying is that the Israelites, they are also from quote unquote Western Asia. They are also known as Asiatics. And they were one of the people groups that lives in Egypt. They are Shemitic. They are also Shemitic. The Hyksos, the Israelites, are Shemitic. And we got to remember, during the time of Joseph, you got to remember, family, like during the time of Joseph, this is, from my opinion, this is how the Israelites would have looked. In the range of this. And this is from the same painting. It's from the same wall. It's from the same tomb, family. It's from the same tomb. Genesis 2:8. And Joseph knew his brethren, but they knew him not. And Joseph recognized his brothers, but they did not recognize him. Why? Because he blended in with the rest of the Egyptians. Why? Because he blended in with the rest of the Egyptians. Whether these Egyptians were the Hyksos or the Egyptians, either way, according to the Beni Hassan tomb, the Egyptians and the Hyksos were deeply melanated and were Negro. They had Negro features. They had African features. According to phenotype, they were, as we know today, black. Now let's get another verse. Let's go to, we're going to go to Moses. Let's go to the verse where Moses, his hand, the scene with his hand. Where Moses, his hand turns white as snow. I'm paraphrasing it. Let's go to Exodus 4:6. Exodus 4:6. Context, Moses given powers. Let's go to ESV. I'm not playing games. And I'm not sorry, KJV lovers. Moses given powerful signs. Let's go. Verse 6, Exodus 4:6. Again, Yahuwah said to him, put your hand inside your cloak. Footnote, Hebrew, into your bosom. Also verse 7. And he put his hand inside his cloak. And when he took it out, behold, his hand was Jade Israel's color. Okay, it didn't say that. And he took it out. Behold, his hand was leprous. Fam, I'm not leprous. Leprosy was a term for several skin diseases. See Leviticus 13. Like snow. Behold, his hand was leprous like snow. Let's see how the KJV reads it. It says, yeah, okay, pretty much similar. Verse 7. Then Elohim said, put your hand back inside your cloak. So he put his hand back inside his cloak, and when he took it out, behold, it was restored like the rest of his flesh. It says like the rest of his flesh. Family, I got a question. What color is snow? His hand was leprous like snow. What does this mean? How do you interpret this? His hand was leprous like snow. And to get a better understanding of leprous, we have to check out Leviticus 13. I'm not going to get into Leviticus 13. I may touch up on it, family. It's just depending on how I'm feeling. But when you read this verse, what does this mean? His hand was leprous like snow. What color is snow? And when you look at Leviticus 13, it deals with color or lack of color. When we speak of leprosy in chapter 13, it does deal with color. It deals with complexion. Now, I really encourage you to do a deep dive on Leviticus 13. Don't broad brush over it. Don't read it angry. Don't read racism into it. But look at Leviticus 13 objectively and with a humble spirit. Do not read Leviticus 13 with an angry spirit. Do not read Leviticus 13 as ammunition to use against Gentiles. Do not read Leviticus 13 and beat over the head of Gentiles. Don't beat the head of the Gentiles with Leviticus 13. Take your time with it. Because I see a lot of Hebrew Israelites misinterpret Leviticus 13 in order to prove an angry point, in order to prove a Hebrew Israelite talking point. Let's be better. Let's be holy, because we are commanded by Yah to be holy. Leviticus 13 is a whole deep dive. I'm not going to get into it like that. I may touch up on it, but I encourage you, family, to look into it and take your time. It doesn't promote racism. I'm just going to go ahead and say it doesn't promote racism. It speaks about a skin disease, a condition that our ancestors had to deal with. And when you had zera'at, which is leprosy, you're unclean. You have to be shut out. You have to be separated. Now, I just encourage you, family, to not read Leviticus 13 with the angry spirit. So we see a miracle here. Exodus 4:6. He put his hand in his cloak, aka his bosom. He took it out, and his hand was leprous like snow. As it says in Hebrew, it says, Sora'at kashaleg. Leprous as the snow. Now, it doesn't mention the word white. It doesn't mention white, but I infer that snow is white. I infer that the snow here in this verse, shaleg, it's white. And then verse 7, so he put his hand back inside his cloak, and when he took it out, behold, it was restored like the rest of his flesh. It just says his flesh. It doesn't mention skin color. However, when I look at this family, I infer that the snow here mentioned in verse 6 refers to white or a very, 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 very light color, but I'm thinking white. When I'm thinking snow, I'm thinking white. And when he put it back in his cloak, when he put his hand back in his cloak, that was leprous like snow, and when he pulled it back, it was restored back to the rest of his flesh. For my opinion, for this to be a miracle, for this to be something supernatural, the color of snow and flesh would have to be opposite. I repeat, for this to be a miracle, the color of snow and the color of his flesh had to be opposite or vastly different. There had been a sharp contrast between leprous like snow and his flesh. That's my opinion. So my inference is that Exodus 4:6 and Exodus 4:7, I infer that in it does involve skin color. Why? Because Leviticus 13 speaks about different color. It speaks about complexion. So in order for this to be a miracle, there had to be a vast contrast between leprous like snow and his flesh. Not Jaden's flesh, but flesh much more melanated than mine. And I say this proudly and humbly at the same time. Sometimes us light-skinned mulattoes, sometimes we forget we light-skinned. Sometimes we need to be reminded. Sometimes we need to be humbled. And my wife is great at that. She keeps me humble. She reminds me, family, when we are during the summertime, we're at the beach. She reminds me to make sure before we go to the beach to bring some sunscreen lotion. Sometimes I forget. Whether on purpose or not, she reminds me, hey, babe, you better bring that sunscreen lotion. But check it. From my observation, there would have been a contrast, a big contrast between leprous like snow and his flesh. Now, we're going to get another comparison, family. This is Bible study, Wednesday night Bible study. I'm not preaching. I'm not performing. If you want to see me preach, you got to tune in to the Shabbat Word at 7 o'clock p.m. Pacific time on Fridays. I repeat, Fridays at 7 o'clock p.m. Pacific time. That's when you see me turn up. But right now, we're just hanging out. We're just studying the Word of Yah together. We're going to get that verse. It's in Exodus 2. I'm trying to think of the name of the verse. I don't remember the verse off tops. But Moses is mistaken for an Egyptian. Not only did Joseph blend in with the Egyptians and or the Hyksos, who were both black, Moses was mistaken for an Egyptian by the daughters of Reuel, Jethro. That's in Exodus 2:19. Let me go ahead and pull that up. It's actually, here we go. Let me just go back 2 chapters. Moses flees to Midian after he caught a body. Verse 19 says, they said, an Egyptian delivered us out of the hand of the shepherds and even drew water for us and watered the flock. That's what it says, family. It says an Egyptian. Bam. Let me go ahead and zoom up a little bit. Let's get a little context. Let's go to right here, verse 16. Now the priest of Midian has 7 daughters, and they came and drew water and filled the troughs of water to water the flocks, their father's flock. The shepherds came and drove them away, but Moses stood up and saved them and watered their flock. When they came home to their father Reuel, he said, how is it that you have come home so soon today? They said, this is the daughters of Reuel. An Egyptian delivered us out of the hand of the shepherds and even drew water for us and watered the flock. Let me highlight that. An Egyptian. Reuel's daughters thought Moses was Egyptian. As we've seen earlier, the Egyptians were melanated They were African. They were black. Also, the Hyksos, Shemites, were African, melanated, black. And I encourage you, family, to watch this documentary. I'm going to go ahead and plug this documentary. We got the Hyksos at the top, the early Hebrews, and we have the Egyptians at the bottom. This is a real painting. This is not photoshopped. This has not been tampered with. There's renditions of this same painting. You can find them online, and you will find that they have been lightened up. They have been whitewashed. But this is the original. And right here, we show you a plethora of evidence in the documentary, whitewashed, biblical figures, Israelite roots, how people of the Bible were whitewashed from black to white. And family, we show you, family, that there is a plethora of evidence that show how Shemites looked. I just showed a piece. I showed a few images, but there's more evidence of where that came from. So I really encourage you to look into that documentary, because it shows you how the people of the Bible, how they looked. It shows you how their phenotype looked, family. We appreciate it, family. If you go ahead and hit that like button, smash that like button, that subscribe button. We appreciate the love, the support. And for kicks and giggles, I'll go ahead and show the image one more again. We got the early Hebrews at the top and the Egyptians at the bottom. They said, an Egyptian delivered us out of the hand of the shepherds, and even drew water for us and watered the flock. Now, during this time, this was somewhere in the 1400s BCE. Now, the Exodus has been estimated to be 1446 BCE. So this is somewhere in that ballpark. This is ballpark 1400s BCE. This happened before 446, but during this time, the Egyptians took back Egypt. They ruled Egypt. Hallelujah. Now we're going to get the verse with Miriam, where Miriam became leprous. Where Miriam got leprosy. And I had the privilege and the honor to preach on this. Numbers 12:10. Let's go to Numbers 12:10. Context: Miriam and Aaron oppose Moses. I did a Shabbat word lesson on this. I'm going to go ahead and plug that here momentarily, but let's get to it, because tonight we're talking about the topic at hand. What's the topic? Black history is in the Bible. Now let's go ahead and scroll down to verse 10. And Slika, when the cloud removed from over the tent, behold, Miriam was leprous like snow. And Aaron turned toward Miriam, and behold, she was leprous. Footnote, leprosy was a term for several skin diseases. See Leviticus 13. Let's go to tools. Let's go to Bibles. The NKJV says, as white as snow. That word as white, that word white is not in Hebrew. It's inserted. The NKJV inserted that term white. You know, I'm keeping it a buck, family. I ain't got a lot to kick it. Ain't got a lot to prove a point. I ain't angry. Family, I'm happy. we got all the reasons to be glad. White is not in the Hebrew. However, it does say Miriam was leprous like snow. In Hebrew, it reads Metzora'atz kashaleg, leprous as the snow. This is the same phrase that was found in Exodus 4:6, I believe. Exodus 4:6. That's right. Moses' hand turned white as snow. It's the same phrase. Metzora'atz kashaleg. Exodus 4:6. Double check that. And again, Yahweh said to him, put your hand inside your cloak. And he put his hand inside his cloak. And when he took it out, behold, his hand was leprous like snow. Leprous like snow. Metzora'atz kashaleg. Metzora'atz kashaleg. Same phrase. It's the same phrase, I tell you. Numbers 12:10. And behold, Miriam was leprous like snow. Metzora'atz kashaleg. I just like saying Zora'atz. I just like saying Metzora'atz, like snow. And Aaron turned towards Miriam, and behold, she was leprous. She was leprous. Metzora'atz. 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 Leprous. So, Bruce, we ain't got a lot to kick it. We don't have to add words in there. The KJV says Miriam became leprous, white as snow. Family, we ain't got a lot to kick it. Stop lying. Stop lying. Stop lying. Why am I saying we lying? Because we're relying on certain translations to prove our angry point. We don't got to do that. We can just rely on Hebrew. Metzora'atz kashaleg. Metzora'atz. Now, the implication is that she became leprous white as snow. That she became white as snow. It doesn't say white. The ESV got it correct. The NIV says white as snow. And then it says Aaron turned toward her and saw that she had a defiling skin disease. So yeah, white is implied. But it doesn't say that in Hebrew. But we imply that, we infer that because the color of snow is what? Family, what's the color of snow? What's the question of snow? What's the color of snow? Dr. Umar Johnson, I'm going to repeat myself multiple times. What's the color of snow? So then again, I'm not upset that they added the word white in there. It's just me, I'm a dork. Y'all know that. I strive to be technical. I just like to go in and just really investigate the matter. And we imply that it means white. That's why it's italicized. That's why the word white is slanted, because it's not in the Hebrew. However, we know the color of snow is what? It's this color, right? This is the color of snow, right? Somewhere around this, right? But so in order to get a better understanding, family, of leprosy, like I was saying, you got to read Leviticus 13 and take your time with it. Make sure you pray to Yahuwah. Make sure, if you have to, you meditate, you calm down. You're not reading the scripture angry, but you're reading the scripture hungry and thirsty and humble. Because Leviticus 13 does deal with color. So Miriam was leprous, like snow. What's the color of snow? White. That's why they translate the word white in the KJV and the NKJV. Also in the NLT, which is thought for thought, they use snow. NIV, same thing. The ESV is word for word like the KJV. And it's interesting because the KJV is word for word, but then it adds the word white, which is, if I'm going to be technical, I'm going to be fair. It's okay to add words in English to make it make sense in Hebrew, but just know that it's added. That's why the translators, they do their due diligence by making the word white italicized. They write it slanted. That way we know that it's inserted. So when you see words that are inserted, just know that the translators are saying, look, we're adding to the text, but we're not doing this to break the law in Deuteronomy. We're doing this to try to make it make sense to the English reader. The reason why they're adding to the text is not because they're breaking Deuteronomy, the command in Deuteronomy, where we're not commanded to add or take away from the text. That's my guess. Well, some of them they may be, but I'm going to look at it and say, you know what? They're not adding to the text to be evil. They're not adding to the text to change the word of God. They're adding to the text so that it translates smoothly and better for the English reader. Well, I shouldn't say better, but it translates well. There we go. It translates in English in a way where we can read it and we can understand it. So inferring the word white, it's not a violation. It's not against Torah, but just know it's been added. But when we use common sense, we know what the color of snow is. It happens to be white. So, and while we're at it, we'll go ahead and go to Leviticus 13, since I've been talking about it. Let's go to Leviticus 13. Leviticus 13. It's pretty lengthy. You know what? This is a lot. This is a lesson within itself. But I'll go ahead and just gloss through it. How's that? I'll gloss through Leviticus 13. And before we go to Leviticus 13, let me go ahead and plug another video of mine. This is on Miriam, because this is another story of the Bible that's it's been abused, family. It's been misquoted. We've been lied to about Miriam. Check this out. Miriam was black. Miriam was black. Miriam was black and became leprous, white as snow. Numbers 12. And there I go adding that word white. I should have italicized it. See what I did there. But if you want a full understanding, if you want a deeper understanding on on Numbers 12, go ahead and watch this lesson, family. We get into the language. We get deep into it. Now, let's go to Leviticus 13. We're just going to just read some of it. Laws about leprosy. This is the ESV. Jehovah spake to Moshe and Aharon, saying, when a person has on the skin of his body a swelling or an eruption or a spot, and it turns into a case of leprosy on the skin of his body, then he shall be brought to Aaron the priest, or to one of his sons the priest. And the priest shall examine the diseased area on the skin of his body. And if the hair of the diseased area has turned white, and the disease appears to be deeper than the skin of his body, it is a case of leprous disease. When the priest has examined it, he shall pronounce him unclean. But if the spot is white in the skin of his body and appears no deeper than the skin, and the hair in it has not turned white, the priest shall shut up the diseased person for 7 days. And the priest shall examine him on the 7th day. And if in his eyes the disease is checked, and the disease has not spread in the skin, then the priest shall shut him up for another 7 days. And the priest shall examine him again on the 7th day. And if the disease area has faded and the disease has not spread in his skin, then the priest shall pronounce him clean. It is only an eruption, and he shall wash his clothes and be clean. But if the eruption spreads in the skin, after he has shown himself to the priest for his cleansing, he shall appear again before the priest, and the priest shall look. And if the eruption has spread in the skin, then the priest shall pronounce him unclean. It is a leprous disease. When a man is afflicted with a leprous disease, he shall be brought to the priest, and the priest shall look. And if there is a white swelling in the skin that has turned the hair white, and there is raw flesh in the swelling, it is a chronic leprous disease in the skin of his body, and the priest shall pronounce him unclean. He shall not shut him up, for he is unclean. And if the leprous disease breaks out in the skin, so that the leprous disease covers all the skin of the diseased person from head to foot, so far as the priest can see, then the priest shall look, and if the leprous disease has covered all his body, he shall pronounce him clean of the disease. Wow, that's interesting. Bruce, have we read this before? Hey, we just keeping it a buck. We keeping it a buck, family. Have we read this before? That's why when we read Leviticus 13, don't be pissed off. Calm down. Drink some tea if you have to. Eat you a Sunday sandwich if you have to. I had a Sunday sandwich a heck of long. Is that what you call them? A Sunday sandwich? I'm thinking of them ice cream. I'm thinking, what is that called? A Sunday sandwich? I forgot what it's called. I haven't had those in so long. I forgot what it was called. But family, if you have to, eat some ice cream. Even if you're lactose intolerant. Let's continue. He shall pronounce him. Let's read that again. Leviticus 13:13. Then the priest shall look, and if the leprous disease has covered all his body, he shall pronounce him clean of the disease. It has all turned white, and he is unclean. No, let me read that again. And he is unclean. Okay, let me read that again. And he is clean. But when the raw flesh appears on him, he shall be unclean. And the priest shall examine the raw flesh and pronounce him unclean. Raw flesh is unclean, for it is a leprous disease. But if the raw flesh recovers and turns white again, then he shall come to the priest, and the priest shall examine him. And if the disease has turned white, then the priest shall pronounce the diseased person clean. He is clean. Contrary to popular Hebrew Israelite belief, and if the disease has turned white, then the priest shall pronounce the diseased person clean. He is clean. If there is in the skin of one's body a boil in the heels, and in the place of the boil that comes a white swelling or a reddish white spot, then it shall be shown to the priest, and the priest shall look. And if it appears deeper than the skin, and the hair has turned white, then the priest shall pronounce him unclean. It is a case of leprous disease that has broken out in the boil. But if the priest examines it, and there is no white hair in it, and it is not deeper than the skin, but has faded, then the priest shall shut him up 7 days. And if it spreads in the skin, then the priest shall pronounce him unclean. It is a disease. But if the spot remains in one place and does not spread, it is the scar of the boil, and the priest shall pronounce him clean. Or when the body has a burn, or its skin and the raw flesh of the burn becomes a spot, reddish white or white, the priest shall examine it, and if the hair in the spot has turned white, and it appears deeper than the skin, then it is a leprous disease. It has broken out in the burn, and the priest shall pronounce him unclean. It is a case of leprous disease. It says, we'll continue. We'll continue for the second time. But if the priest examines it, and there is no white hair in the spot, and it is no deeper than the skin, but has faded, the priest shall shut him up 7 days, and the priest shall examine him the seventh day. If it is spreading in the skin, then the priest shall pronounce him unclean. It is a case of leprous disease. But if the spot remains in one place and does not spread in the skin, but has faded, it is a swelling from the burn, and the priest shall pronounce him clean, for it is the scar of the burn. See how much further we're going to go. We'll go ahead and I'll just go ahead and read it out. I wasn't going to, but I'll go ahead and read it since we're talking about skin color. The priest shall examine. When a man or woman has a disease on the head or the beard, the priest shall examine the disease, and if it appears deeper than the skin, and the hair in it is yellow and thin, then the priest shall pronounce him unclean. It is an itch, a leprous disease of the head or the beard. If the priest examines the itching disease, and it appears no deeper than the skin, and there is no black hair in it, then the priest shall shut up the person with the itching disease for 7 days. And on the seventh day, the priest shall examine the disease. If the itch has not spread, and there is in it no yellow hair, and the itch appears to be no deeper than the skin, then he shall shave himself, but the itch he shall not shave. And the priest shall shut up the person with the itching disease for another 7 days. And on the seventh day, the priest shall examine the itch, and if the itch has not spread in the skin, and it appears to be no deeper than the skin, then the priest shall pronounce him clean, and he shall wash his clothes and be clean. But if the itch spreads in the skin after his cleansing, then the priest shall examine him. And if the itch has spread in the skin, the priest need not seek for the yellow hair. He is unclean. But if in his eyes the itch is unchanged and black hair has grown in it, the itch is healed and he is clean, and the priest shall pronounce him clean. Woo! This is a lot, family. Okay. This is a lot. I told you, you got to take your time with this. This is a lot. We'll go ahead and end on verse 44. What was the last verse that I read? I believe it was I'll just read 38. When a man or woman has, I'll read 38 to 46. There we go. When a man or woman has spots on the skin of the body, white spots, the priest shall look, and if the spots on the skin of the body are of a dull white, it is leukoderma. It says leukoderma here in the ESV that has broken out in the skin. He is clean. If a man's hair falls out from his head, he is bald. He is clean. If a man's hair falls out from his forehead, he has baldness of the forehead. He is clean. But if there is on the bald head or the bald forehead a reddish white diseased area, it is a leprous disease breaking out on his bald head or his bald forehead. Then the priest shall examine it, and if the disease swelling is reddish white on his bald head or on his bald forehead, like the appearance of leprous disease of the skin of the body, he is a leprous man. He is unclean. The priest must pronounce him unclean. His disease is on his head. The leprous person who has the disease shall wear torn clothes and let the hair of his head hang loose, and shall cover his upper lip or mustache and cry out, unclean, unclean. Man, that must have been humiliating. Hey, but you got to do what you got to do. He shall remain unclean as long as he has the disease. He is unclean. He shall live alone. His dwelling shall be outside the camp. I'll go ahead and land right there. I wanted to go ahead and cover that, family, because we take Leviticus 13 out of context and we just use it as a talking point to promote racism. We don't, but we're talking about, when I say we, I'm talking about many of us within the Israelite community, and it's unfortunate. Now, I'm going to show maybe one or two more references, but I wanted to start from the beginning. I wanted to start from Genesis. Also wanted to include science. Also want to include archaeology, history, and we're going to look at that word. We're going to look at Esau, because that's another lie that's been promoted within our community. Many say that Esau was white. Esau was red, as in white. Well, family, I'm going to go ahead and just plug another video, because this lesson right here is a deep dive. You know what I'll do? Better yet, this is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to do, family. This will get right to the point. We're going to speak about the complexion of Esau and King David. There are many out there that say King David and Esau were red, as in white. This is what I've heard. I've heard from YouTube comments. I've received YouTube comments from racist white folk saying that King David was white because he was ruddy, he was red. And we hear from Hebrew Israelites, not all, but a lot of them, they say that Esau was red, as in the quote unquote white man. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. We're going to debunk that lie real quick. But I encourage you to watch the full breakdown. We're going to go to the shorts right here. Right here, family. Give me 1 second. There we go. All right, let's get it. Oh, you know what? I might not be able to play this. I might not be able to play this because it actually has a song So for the sake of not getting a warning from YouTube, I'm gonna go ahead and read it. How's that? I'm gonna go ahead and read this short. So I'm not gonna be able to play the short because of the song. I wonder if there's another way I can do that. I'll just go ahead and just write it. I'll read it as I go. And the first came out red. That word is adamoni. Adamoni. Reddish. Adamoni means reddish. Sheepskin. Sheepskin. And this is from the Halot, the Hebrew and Aramaic lexicon of the Old Testament, which I have in the Patreon. If you like this lexicon, go ahead and tap in to the Patreon to get this lexicon. You can't get this definition on Blue Letter Bible. You have to get the Halot, the Hebrew and Aramaic lexicon of the Old Testament. So let's go ahead and rewind that. Admoni means red in Hebrew, where it says, and the first came out red. This is referring to Esau. And the first came out red. Admoni, reddish. Sheepskin, the leather side of which has been dyed a brownish white, a reddish white. No, that's not what it say. That's not what it say. It says reddish. Admoni means reddish. Sheepskin, the leather side of which has been dyed a brownish red. Brownish red. Esau at his birth. Genesis 25:25. David, King David. 1 Samuel 16:12 and 17:42. This is what it looked like, family. This is reddish brown. Sheep leather, sheep skin, the leather side that has been dyed reddish brown, as we read from the Halot. This is sheep skin. What color is it? Reddish brown. Reddish brown. Once again, reddish brown. If we look on the right side, it says sheepskin leather. Sheepskin. On the left is cowhide leather, but on the right side, sheepskin leather. What color is sheepskin leather? It's brown. It's reddish brown. It's like the color of a football. This is what Admoni looks like. So when it says Esau was reddish brown, when Esau and he came out red, the word Admoni means reddish brown, like a mahogany, like the color of a football. Sheepskin, reddish brown, reddish brown, reddish brown, reddish brown. That is what Admoni looks like. There go Esau right there. I couldn't play the short. I had to read it because I used the song from Childish Gambino. Can you guess the song that I used? Could you guess the song that I used? Family, can you guess the song that I used for this short? I'm going to give you a hint. It's from Childish Gambino. I'm going to test your blackness. You going to do what, Jaden? I'm going to test your blackness. What song did I use for this Esau short? This short that I made entitled Esau Was Black. What song did I use? Cheat sheet, watch the short. But there go Esau right there. It's a modern drawing, but Esau, in terms of complexion, phenotype, he'll look somewhere in this ballpark, somewhere in this range, family, somewhere, somewhat like this, similar to this. Also, we'll throw a little kicks and giggles. This is just a little sidebar right here. Check this out. Check this out. Kush, 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 Kush. Outline of biblical usage, black. A Benjamite mentioned only in the title of Psalm 7. Mentioned only in the title. Shiggaion of David, which he sang unto Yahweh concerning the words of Cush, the Benjamite. That's interesting. There was a Benjamite by the name of Cush. Just a sidebar, not a deep dive, just something to think about. A Benjamite mentioned only in the title of Psalm 7. The son of Ham and grandson of Noah, and the progenitor of the southernmost peoples located in Africa. The peoples descended from Cush. The land occupied by the descendants of Cush, located around the southern parts of the Nile, Ethiopia, which is a Greek term. It's a derogatory. Well, it could be, well, the way how you look at it, well, it sounds derogatory. I'll put it that way. I mean, hey, it means burnt face in Greek, which, I mean, that's definitely can be taken, definitely can make you feel a type of way hearing that. But yeah, Ethiopia, meaning burnt face. Strong definition. Probably of foreign origin, Cush or Ethiopia, the name of the son of Ham and the territory, also of an Israelite, Cush. No, not that Cush. We're not talking about that Cush. We're talking about the real Cush, Cush. Which was an empire. And existed before Egypt. Nubia, Cush, aka Nubia, which means gold. It has gold in it. The word gold is in it. Even that's kind of derogatory as well. Well, it depends how you look at it, but it can be taken that way. Definitely, it sounds derogatory. Also, the bow, people referring to the people of the bow, Cush, aka Nubia, aka Ethiopia. Yeah, family. So that's just a sidebar. But those are the verses I like to cover. I know Israelites like to use a lot more verses that I'm using. I'm more careful with it. I like to take my time with it. And every term that says black, I'm not just going to just use it and say this is definitive. I encourage you, family, to not proof text. Don't just look into the scripture to prove your point that the Israelites are black just because you see the term black, or when you read it on the surface, it kind of seems like it. What I'm saying is that we should go deeper and we should take our time, and we should also consider the C word, context. We have to read in context and what the verse is saying. I'll give you a hint. There are more verses throughout the Bible that speak about blackness, or that is interpreted as the Israelites are black. We interpret certain verses throughout the Bible to mean the Israelites are black. What I'm saying is that before you do that, and I'm saying this as an Israelite brother, out of love, as a mulatto, as being light-skinned, and I'm proud to be black, family, but check it. Consider context. That's why I'm not using the same amount of verses that these camps are using. Why? Because they're not taking their time with their studies. They're reading on the surface and they're running with it, and they're using certain scriptures to beat Gentiles over the head with. And I encourage us not to do that, fam. Just take your time with it, and also consider other methodology. Don't just read the Bible and that's it. You have to use other strategies. You have to use other methodologies to arrive to your conclusion. So when I consider the variety of tools that we have, we're talking about weather. We're talking about Israel, the land of Israel. It's hot in Israel. The weather of Israel is like the weather of Stockton. I live in Stockton. We have hot summers. We have cool winters. We have rainy winters, but we don't have snow. And in Israel, you have similar weather. You have the wet season and you have the dry season. You have rainy, cold winters, and you have hot and dry summers. So it's similar. In Israel, it gets hot. It can be pretty comfortable throughout the year, but it can get pretty hot as well. So when you consider the weather of Israel, of Israel, you consider the amount of sunlight that kisses Israel. When you consider geography, Israel is on the tectonic plate of Africa. That's right. Israel is in Northeast Africa. Contrary to popular belief, they want us to believe that it's in the Middle East. That's a geopolitical term made up by the British. Shout out to my partner, to my friend, to Stephen Graham out in the UK. He created a documentary where he shows and proves Israel is in Northeast Africa. As a matter of fact, you know what I'm about to do? I'm about to get out of here, but before I do, I'm going to go ahead and tease this video, because you get to see what I'm talking about, that Israel is in Northeast Africa. Shout out to Stephen Graham. I used references from him, and I got permission from him. All glory to Yah. But yeah, he did his journalism, his research. He went to the land of Israel and showed and proved that Israel is in Northeast Africa. I know you've seen the clip before. You've seen the clip used by other content creators, including myself, but I gave the credit. Israel is on the tectonic plate of Africa. I'm almost there. Right here. Check this out. Israel is in Africa. That's right. Israel is in Northeast Africa. Middle East deception. Hebrew Israelite teaching. Shout out to Stephen Graham. I use some of his references, his scholarship, his journalism. Shout out. Shout out. All glory to Yah. Also, as I mentioned earlier, was Esau white? Here's the deep dive that I'm talking about. If family, if you want to go in, if you want to investigate this matter over Esau being black or white or whatever, was Esau white? Was King David and King Solomon white? Ready, read, explain. Check this out. Check this video out. I go in, family. To the bone. All glory to Yah. To the moral. We go in, fam. There was another video I wanted to show off while I'm here, while I'm in the mood of showing off. Oh, yes. Let's go to live. Let me go to my live playlist. This is another verse that's been taken out of context, and I don't want you to make the same mistake, family. Don't make this mistake. Unfortunately, the camps, a lot of them, they make this mistake. They say that Solomon was the one who said, I am black but comely. No, that was the woman of Solomon. That was the Shulamite. King Solomon in Song of Songs, chapter 1, verse 5. He was not the speaker. King Solomon, Shlomo HaMelech did not say, I am black but comely. That was the Shulamite woman. That was King Solomon's woman. If you want a deep dive, check this video out. Song of Solomon, chapter 1, verses 5 and 6. I am black but comely, explained. I am black but comely, explained. Song of Solomon, chapter 1, verses 5 through 6. Hebrew breakdown. Open panel. We break the Hebrew down, family. We break it down like DJ Jazzy Jeff on the ones and twos. We get into it. All glory, all praises, all kavod to Yah. I repeat, King Solomon was not the speaker. He was not the one who said, I am black but comely. And that term, I am black but comely, if you want to understand what the Hebrew's saying, watch this video. All right, family. So I'm good with that. I'm going to go ahead and land there. Those are the references that I wanted to bring out tonight. I know there's other verses, but I choose to use the verses that I brought out tonight. I'm sticking with those, and I'm good with that. And family, it is Black History Month. They give us the shortest month, but check it. I'm thankful. I am glad that this country, America, it acknowledges Black history, and I believe we should do the same too. Let's not forget about our history, our modern history in America. You know, it's sad because I see a lot of Israelites. They pretend like they're not African. They what, Jayden? They pretend like they're not African. As a matter of fact, they say they're not African. That's how delusional and lost in the head and drunk off of doctrine they are. Check it. If you're an Israelite, and if you are of African descent, and you believe that you are not African, slap yourself. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. But check it, family. You don't have to be like them. We ain't like them. We don't hate ourselves. We don't hate our neighbor. We love Yah. We love our neighbor as we love ourselves. It takes work to love ourselves. It takes effort to love ourselves. It takes transparency. For some of us, it's difficult to look in the mirror and love the person that they see. A lot of these bros, they hate themselves. They want to pretend like they not African, like we not African. They want to skip over West Africa, Central Africa, North Africa, South Africa. They want to jump all the way to Northeast Africa, to that little sliver known as Israel. And I don't mean to be disrespectful. I'm not coming disrespectful. I'm being real, family. How you going to jump over West Africa into Northeast Africa, into that tiny little strip called Israel? I see a lot of brews doing that. Let's embrace our history. Let's embrace all of it. The good, the bad, the ugly. We embrace it by remembering our history, to learn from our history, to grow from our history. Our ancestors made mistakes so that we don't have to make the same mistakes. The word of Yah reminds us over and over and over and over again, where it's like listening to a record on a cycle, on a rotisserie, spinning over and over and over, to the point where it sounds like you're reading the same story over and over and over again. Israel, our ancestors, they mess up, they call out, Yah rescues our ancestors, they get fat, they get comfortable, they get complacent, they get cocky, they get arrogant, they get greedy. They forget about Yah. Then Yah uses other nations to punish our ancestors. They get punished. And then the same thing happens again. They call out, they repent, Yah saves, they fall off. The same record is playing over and over and over again. Let's learn from our past so we can move forward in our future. This is all of our history. Black history in America, African history, throughout the Middle Ages, throughout the Dark Ages, which wasn't dark in a negative sense throughout Africa. It was dark in a blessed, beautiful sense. Black and beautiful throughout the Dark Ages of Africa. You had great kingdoms. You had great empires throughout Africa during the Dark Ages. And when you go back before that, we have the time of the Bible, which the Bible includes history. It's our moral playbook, but it includes history as well. It's our game. It is our playbook for life, the word of Yah. Let's take and remember and not forget our history. Let's accept it all, family. And let's accept our journey to where we've been. We've been so far, family. All glory to Yah that we are here today. It is a miracle from the chesed, the kindness of Yah, from the rechem, the mercy of Yah, that our ancestors survived the transatlantic slave trade and that we are standing here today. Let's not forget about our history. Let's not forget about our modern history. Let's not forget about our modern history, Black history in America. We know history did not begin in 1619. We know that, family. And if you don't know that, you better ask somebody. Let's not forget about our history in America. Let's not forget about our history during the Middle Ages. And let's not forget about our history in the Bible. Black history, Black history, Black history is in the Bible. All glory, all praises, all kavod to Yah. Thank you, family, for joining us tonight. I'd like to thank everybody in the chat. Toda, Toda, thank you. And I'd like to thank everybody listening online. Toda, thank you. Let's continue to love Yah with all of our heart, all of our soul, all of our might. Let's love our neighbor. Let's love ourselves. I'm Jaden Israel. Until next time, shalom, fam.